Monday, they deployed flashbangs to break up crowds near LA's City Hall and the federal building downtown. The Trump administration has mobilized 700 Marines to a military base near Los Angeles. Two sources familiar with the plans tell NBC News they could be used to provide security and transportation for Immigrations and Customs Enforcement personnel.
President Trump is doubling down on his decision to send them in, saying in the Oval Office today that LA would be, quote, burning if the military was not there. This is the second instance of the White House deploying military resources against the wishes of leaders in California. The state's attorney general has now filed for a temporary restraining order, asking a judge to return control of the National Guard back to the governor. Protests are expanding to other parts of the country, too. In Texas, police clashed with protesters in both Dallas and Austin last night. There were also demonstrations in New York and Florida.
Leading us off this hour, NBC News correspondent Morgan Chesky in Los Angeles and NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba. Morgan, let's start with you. You were in the middle of the protest last night. Are authorities expecting more of the same today?
Yeah, Kate, that is a question that we really won't find the answer to until tonight. I can tell you it has been a quiet morning here in downtown Los Angeles. You'll see City Hall just a few blocks behind me. That has been the main site, somewhat of the epicenter, where we've seen these protests break down into more violent encounters over the last 48 hours or so. And the federal building just a stone's throw from there, Kate. That is where we were last night, as you mentioned, where those flashbangs were deployed. That crowd over the course of several hours while that row of National Guardsmen and other law enforcement kind of guarded the exterior of the entrance to that federal building, and then slowly but surely more and more law enforcement amassed until that crowd dispersed. We do know that there were incidents that happened overnight where groups of people would kind of come together quickly. There would be some sort of violent confrontation only for it to quickly disperse. I do want to show you, though, something that has happened relatively recently. Okay, and that is, we have a steady presence of highway patrol and other cruisers here. This is an exit off of the 101, Kate. That was the highway that over the weekend we saw those dramatic images as protesters made their way onto that road, taking it over for several hours. Because of these cruisers here, they're trying to prevent that from happening again. Kate and Clay?
Morgan, thank you. Monica, let's bring you in. What are we hearing from the president and the White House today about this decision to mobilize the National Guard and the Marines?
Well, President Trump is really defending this decision and really sending a warning shot to other cities potentially if there's some unrest like what we have seen in Los Angeles, again, even if it has been in isolated pockets. Here's a little bit more of what he had to say about what we've witnessed there.
It's some bad people. We have people, they look in your face and they spit right in your face. They're animals. And these are paid insurrectionists. These are paid troublemakers. So if we didn't attack this one very strongly, you'd have them all over the country. But I can inform the rest of the country that when they do it, if they do it, they're going to be met with equal or greater force than we met right here.
So that's the president's threat there, and we know that at least in Los Angeles, it'll be about 60 days that we are going to see these Marines and National Guard deployed there, and it's going to cost upwards of $130 million.
Monica, just quickly, there's been some back and forth today about whether the president spoke to Governor Newsom by phone in the past few days. What do we know?
We know that they spoke late Friday night, early Saturday morning, and it seems that's the last conversation they had, and that's what the president was referring to when he said they had spoken about a day ago. But Governor Newsom, for his part, and his top aides say that really there wasn't any conversation in the last 24 hours. They point to the one that was a couple of days ago, but we know that federal officials have been in touch with local officials throughout.
Certainly has been an eventful 24 hours, and we'll be monitoring it as it develops. Monica Alba at the White House, Morgan Chesky on the ground there in Los Angeles. Thank you both so much.
Austria's chancellor says today marks a dark day in the country's history after a school shooting there killed 11 people, including the gunman.
This happened in the city of Graz, Austria's second largest city in the southeastern part of the country. Police have identified the suspect as a 21-year-old from Graz. They say it appears he had died by suicide after that shooting. Let's bring in NBC News reporter Matt Bodner. Matt, what more are we learning about this incident and how the community's responding?
Clay, thank you. Well, police first received reports at about 10 a.m. local time of screaming and shooting at a local high school, and units were on site within minutes. This included operatives from the Cobra Special Police Forces as well as medical personnel, and in total, some 300 law enforcement personnel took part in the response operation by the time it was all done. Now, 9 people were killed during the attack. Those were 6 female and 3 male students, plus 12 others were injured, some of them seriously. And just about an hour or so ago, we learned that one of those injured, an adult woman, passed away in the hospital from those wounds. As for the shooter, he was a 21-year-old Austrian national. He was a local to Graz who once attended this particular high school, but we understand he did not graduate. He took his own life in the restrooms today, according to the police. His motive is currently unknown. The community is obviously in deep shock over today's incident, and the local residents have also been lining up to donate blood to help those currently being treated from the shooting. Here's what one local woman said about that.
It's just one more horrible news that I heard today, and it's really close now. So it makes me sad and really upset.
The government, meanwhile, has called for 3 days of national mourning, and flags at official sites across the country are flying at half-staff.
Matt Bodner, thanks so much.